a.m. to 4 p.m. at Norman Houston Park, 4800 South La Brea in Los Angeles, the park at the summit. For special parking options and more information, visit blmla.org or go to BLM Los Angeles on Instagram. Say her name, Breonna Taylor, and join us in loving on Black women. Happy Women's History Month from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, 1993. Check this freaky style I was born with. I feel so freaky tonight, and I need someone to make me feel alright. So bring your body here, baby. Lady, have no fear. I'm gonna fulfill your fantasies just as long as you. Oh, sex me, baby. Lady, sex me. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Sex me.
Happy Tuesday. Welcome in. It's raining. We got the rain effects going. Listen, you are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Here for your entertainment news update. And listen, the streets are always on fire. But today, they are particularly wild. You know, they've been busy. And you already know we're going to break it down for you. Here with me, Jill Munroe. So tonight we are getting into, first of all, I know you guys are missing out on seeing Andy hit that body roll to this. I just had to let that out. So first up, we know RKelly is behind bars, right? There's no doubt about RKelly's talent, his pen, the classics that he has put out there. But we know that accountability was not his thing. And he's done some heinous things, right? Well, there was a Residuals challenge that was started by Tank a few weeks back. And RKelly has joined the Residuals challenge. And, you know, there is a particular part of the song that has got social media buzzing. So we're going to get into the song and the lyric, and we're going to get into, you know, attempting to break down and answer the question that he asked. Also, you know, your guy Drake is never going to stay quiet for long. He popped back up on Instagram. Not that he's really been gone, but, you know, he had a cryptic caption and photos teasing his next chapter. So we're going to get into what he said, what we think he might be trying to say. And, you know, is he trying to drop a new project? Is it going to be a classic Drake project? Or is it going to come and go like the Drake and Party Next Door project that dropped not even a month ago? And even though people were feeling Give Me a Hug and Nokia, still probably are, we're not talking about it as much anymore. Andy?
To be fair, I feel like the last 2 to 3 Drake projects that he dropped solo have been forgettable.
They have been. They've been subpar. We talked about it. So, you know, but maybe the competition has lit a fire underneath him. We're going to get into what he said. And we're going to get into SZA checking Shannon Sharpe after he brought up her BBL during an interview with Coco Jones. We'll get into what the question was and do you think it's fair or not? So, you know, it's about to get real. Grab your drink, settle in, get, you know, your snacks, your beverages, because your front row seat to the culture starts now. Now, first up, Today is March 11th, and I mentioned the Residuals Challenge. Tank is actually the one, R&B star Tank, that kicked it off, and he is making his Broadway debut tonight in the role of Davis in the musical based off of Alicia Keys' life, Hell's Kitchen. He is replacing Tony Award-winning and nominated actor Victor Dixon. If you don't know, that's Silver from Power, the OG Power. He's also a Tony Award-winning Broadway star. Fantastic. And so he is leaving the show, and now Tank is making his Broadway debut on there. So the musical Hell's Kitchen was written and composed by Alicia Keys, and it's inspired, like I mentioned, about her New York upbringing. So congratulations to Tank on that one. And listen, it looks like Mia Thornton from Real Housewives of Potomac, she might be looking to make a switch. Real Housewives of Atlanta dropped on Sunday, and Mia tweeted out that it's looking spicy and good over there, adding to the rumors that she actually lives in Atlanta and not Potomac. So we'll have to see what happens with that. We'll keep our eye on that. When we come forward, we're going to get into this RKelly Residuals Challenge. We got a little information about the neighborhood and Nate Dogg, plus more trending topics and headlines. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Your ride with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Bam! Out of nowhere. Crashed, hurt, don't panic, don't wait, don't call your insurance company. Call 877-CARE-LAW, the car accident attorneys who care about your case and win you the big money you deserve. Car accident, serious injury, other firms just handle cases. We own them at 877-CARE-LAW. We're the premier injury law firm with a powerhouse team of medical experts who prove your injuries, fight for your rights, and get you the max payout fast. No fees unless you win. Dial 877-CARE-LAW now or visit 877carelaw.com.
877-CARE-LAW, 877-CARE-LAW. Hurt in a crash, don't stall, just call 877-CARE-LAW. Faster wins, bigger pay. After an accident, call right away. 877-CARE-LAW, 877-CARE-LAW.
Car accident, injury, don't call your insurance company. Call one team, one win. 877-CARE-LAW. Call now or go to 877carelaw.com.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Don't know when my nights became so complicated. Can't recall my mornings, everything is faded. Maybe this This is called my definition of JD. This stays on my mind. This stays on my mind. Trying to put a muzzle on my crazy
Welcome back
feelings.
in. You were locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. That is Chris Brown. That is his single Residuals, which is the basis of what we're going to get into. And, before we get into that, shout out to Forensic Accountant in the chat for alerting me. Junior Bridgman has passed away at the age of 71. If you are not familiar with him, he's a former Bucks and Clippers player. He was part of the trade that bought Marcus Johnson to the Clippers back in the day. But Junior, you probably won't know much about his NBA career. And he also didn't play at a time, technically, when they were balling out and making a great deal of money. But Junior Bridgman was a billionaire, okay? And while playing in the NBA, he spent the offseason working at a Wendy's, which he eventually purchased a franchise and added more and more to it, where he owned over 100 franchises. This is, pre-Magic, right? Or right in the same time frame. We don't talk about Junior a lot. But he also became a bottler for Coca-Cola, right? Expanding his empire. And in 2020, he bought Ebony and Jet magazines for $14 million. So he is also a minority owner, he just became last year, of the Milwaukee Bucks. So we are losing a gem, or we have lost a gem. And I implore you, if you weren't familiar with him, go check out his career. And I'm not talking just about the sports side. Yay. I love hoops, and he did play for the Clippers. However, what he did as an entrepreneur and what he was able to do, how he took his modest earnings and turned that over, worked, like I said, in the Wendy's. He made it a point to work in them, do everything inside, and learn the business inside out and built it out. So much love to his family. His daughter, Eden, I believe her name is the CEO of Ebony and Jet. They do the Power 100 in addition to what you see digitally for them. So sending love, light, thoughts, and prayers. Andy?
See, now I'm a little bit disappointed in the NBA. I'm going to assume he wasn't that big of a star.
He's been involved in stuff.
Basketball-wise?
He wasn't. No, he wasn't. Not really.
'Cause,
Not really.
I mean, we just had Black History Month, and to hear that and him being a minority owner and him owning all these franchises and stuff, that's information that we need. Just amongst the league themselves.
They do talk about him. Like
Okay.
I said, Junior's been involved in various things. He speaks at the rookie symposiums earlier in the thing to let them know, and he. Outside of what he does with the league, he talks to many entrepreneurs. And like I said, him buying and saving Ebony and Jet was huge. So salute to him, shout out to him and his family. So on the line, joining me to get into this topic tonight, this hot topic, is Nick Cannon. Oh my God. Nick Hamilton from NiteCast Media. Shout out to Nick Hamilton in the building.
The other black guy. What's going on?
Welcome in, Nick. How are you?
I'm hanging like a loose toenail. What's going on?
Really quickly, before we get into the RKelly thing, we were chatting earlier. Did you have a thought on LeBron versus Stephen A?
I mean, I thought LeBron was lame for that. I thought it was overconsumption. I think Stephen A was doing his job, and that he didn't say anything disrespectful. He was critiquing a player that you put in front of all of us. So that's all of our jobs. Those that cover the league, or a reporter or a journalist in any type of capacity. I don't feel that Stephen A disrespected anybody. I think he was just very critical, as he should, because that's what he gets paid to do. No different than anybody else. And I don't believe that LeBron or Bronny or anybody else is above critique as it pertains to their game. Now, if he had gotten personal, then that's a different story. But he didn't.
We'll talk about that later. Some people feel as though him saying, "As a father, I beg you," was the personal line. But we can talk about that another day. We're going to put a pin in that. I know you got a lot of opinions on that, but we're going to get to this RKelly thing, and we'll circle back if we can, because, Nick is going to come with the hot fire. So This next story, like I said, is one of those that has to come with a disclaimer, because while we're talking about something trending, it's also something serious and has a painful history that's attached to it, right? So we're going into this with full awareness, respect for everything that comes along with this topic, right? So RKelly has officially entered the chat for the Chris Brown Residuals Challenge. It's from jail. On a collect call, he said he starts it off with, "I got 2 minutes to get this across." And he hopped on, and, you know, the clip is making its rounds. It was dropped out. And one of the most viral moments in the song is him asking, "Who's going to get my checks?" Now, given the situation with R. Kelly, it's probably a loaded question, right? Because legally, those checks probably aren't his to claim at this point, right? But we're going to, one, let you hear R. Kelly's residual challenge. And then two, we're going to talk about, is it okay that he's dropping these little things? Because, you know, we saw Tory Lanez just drop an album from jail recently. We've seen it happen before in the past. Are we okay with this happening, especially given the charges that R. Kelly is incarcerated for? So let's get into the residuals challenge from R. Kelly.
This call is from a federal prison. This call is from
Robert Kelly.
This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. To accept this call, press 5. You may begin speaking now.
I got 2 minutes. Let's go. First, I want to thank my fans for being a realist. Now let's get down to business on this breezy remix. Had to make this phone call just to let you know you ain't. It's questions on my mind. It's questions on my mind. You're still selling my music, making all this money. Don't even send shit to my books for commentary, no. Though I'm in this place, I know I don't deserve this. It's questions on my mind. It's questions on my mind. Did I build you up? Build you up when I wrote you all those years? How you not gonna show me love? Show me love. And I'm not talking about no cheat. Tell me who's getting all my checks? Where's my money at? Tell me who's getting paid for my crime? All of that's supposed to be mine. Oh, who gave you 34 years? Who made you billions of dollars? Who put the R in the R and the sweat and it's killing me and myself, making me all of damn it. Tell me who's getting all of mine? Who's getting all of my residuals? I just need to know. Tell me who. They just called Rick. I gotta go.
So, one, we know R. Kelly's pen still what it is. Mm-hmm. But, Nick, what are your thoughts on him dropping this from jail? Here's the thing. If it does something, right, like I mentioned, I mean, I'm not sure about that in particular, but in general, his residuals, as he mentioned, go to the victims of his crimes. Mm-hmm. So, therefore, is it worth it or okay for him to put out music because ultimately the benefactors will be his victims?
I mean, if that's what he chooses to do, I mean, that's his business, knowing between the son of Sam Law and, like you said, going the remaining money's going to all of his victims, which they should. I also think that, you know, this is a marketing ploy because he doesn't want to get his name forgotten about because he's locked away in the clink. So we don't hear too much from him. So I think this is more of a kind of a marketing, hey, I'm still around type of deal. But if that's what he chooses to do, that's his business, you know.
I do, sorry to interrupt, but I do feel like there is a marked difference in social media from a couple of years ago as far as attitudes towards R. Kelly. you know? And so, like you said, if this is him dipping his toe out there, because the other question that he asks in the lyrics is when he talks about nobody putting nothing on his books and didn't I build you up and I put the R and R&B for 34 years and the careers I built, he's talking to somebody.
Well, he should have thought about that before he committed the crimes that he committed.
Absolutely.
Nobody's feeling sorry for him.
Absolutely.
Ain't nobody feeling sorry for him.
Well,
He's
but
a creep.
here's my
He's still
question.
been a creep.
If you look at the comments, though, they are kind of changing. And I'm not talking about the YouTube comments. I'm talking about the comments on some of the posts. The thoughts about it are changing. And so with a convicted felon, sex, whatever, in the White House, is RKelly someone that is going to benefit from things like that?
No. I mean, that's a totally separate issue. I ain't going to get into that. But as far as it pertains to RKelly, I think when it comes to, you know, he put the R and R&B in the air. Like you said, his pen game has always been, you know, top-notch. His production game has always been top-notch. But he had a problem that he didn't identify and refused to seek help for. So he allowed that to go on and coerced other people involved in that. So, no, I don't care what the comments say, because people blow like to win. So one day you'll love somebody, tomorrow you'll hate them because they look a certain way or they said one thing or they dressed a certain way or whatever. So people are so fickle, it's not even ridiculous. So I don't put a lot of stock and strength in comments because people, like I said, most people just blow with the wind. I know quite a few people that don't rock with RKelly.
Right.
And they've also said, hey, it's a shame, you know, because of his talent. It's a shame that you can't enjoy a talent of his magnitude. But again, he committed multiple crimes. So I don't understand what the argument is. Like, he's guilty. Sit your behind and rot in jail. And when it's your time to get out, if you do get out, then we'll talk about that later.
Well, we will see. I mean, talent does not erase accountability. And, you know, he's looking for residuals. Perhaps he should check with the courts first. But, you know, I do think that it is something to be aware of, that although you feel people are fickle, and they are, I think in this instance, people are showing that their fickleness is not, I'm still thinking about these women. It is, well, he's talented, and that was my jam. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Speaking of, you know, people in an interesting space in their career right now, Drake has been posting, as per usual, cryptic Instagram posts teasing his next chapter, right? He's doing the type of things that he's doing. So Champagne Papi is stirring the pot. He dropped this Instagram post, and, you know, he said that his next chapter might leave fans uneasy. So he posted, along with this caption, a carousel that included pictures, including Zofran pills. What the heck, Drake? What does that mean? Those are typically used to prevent nausea. And a still from Phantom Thread, you know. And is he about to drop a medical drama album? Like, I'm confused. Is he doing his version of ER? Is he about to jump into acting? Or, you know, is this something more involving Kendrick or one of the other people he's had beef with? I don't know if it's shade or what's going on, but it is of note. Remember, I said earlier, or was that last week, that FIFA has talked about they're doing a halftime show for the World Cup, and they are considering Drake as the artist they may think about booking for that. So, Nick, what are your thoughts?
I mean, Aubrey better stay away from Dot. That's all I know. Don't speak on Dot anymore. Like, just maybe he's doing a soundtrack for something. Maybe he's going back into acting, which I can see him going into his acting bag, which would probably be the wisest choice for him to do. You
know what's interesting with that is that K-Dot has a movie coming out this summer that he's acting in. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
they'd be lining up again.
Listen, Aubrey, you know, he's one of them hard-headed. You ever got them kids, like his brother, sister, brother, and that's always that one kid that's just hard-headed, just refused to learn a lesson over and over again. So that's Aubrey. Like,
one other thing I forgot to mention. I'm sorry. He said he's non-confrontational. it's a little late to say.
I guess after you got
you're
your
non-confrontational. He said he's always been that way.
You're non-confrontational when you got your behind waxed and you got mollywopped all over the charts and you did a punk move and sued, and now everybody knows how lame you are. So I guess you are non-confrontational now. Doesn't make much sense. Too little, too late. But, I mean, he still can salvage. I think Jake has some talent. I'm not going to take anything away from that. But I would, we'll see what the future holds. And like I said, maybe he's getting into his acting bag, too. Maybe he's doing soundtracks. I don't know. Maybe he's going on a European tour. Who knows? My man was in Australia in the club by himself.
Yeah, he canceled those 2 days.
Motivational speaking.
Andy?
Real quick question for you, Jill, and for Nick. Working the red carpet one of these days. Drake is on the red carpet.
Drake does not do red carpet.
I'm just saying, if he ever did,
yeah.
Like, do we keep it professional? Ask questions pertaining to said event? Do you want to go ahead and ask maybe a character question? I'm just curious.
I mean, I feel like it depends on who's asking what his response would be and whether or not he would answer. If I'm asking, it depends. He doesn't know me. He doesn't have a relationship with. His publicist might come in and shut the interview down and move him along. It just depends. Depends on the mood. They'll tell you when they walk up. Nick knows this. No Kendrick questions tonight. You can't ask any questions about that. Thank you. And if you do, they'll tap you on your shoulder a little bit subtly, right? When we come forward, we're going to get Nick's answer to this, and we're going to talk more trending topics and headlines. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. News, traffic, and sports up next.
Tell me who's getting on my love? Who's getting on my love? Tell me who's getting on my time? All of that used to be mine. Who did you teach what I taught you? Better not give them my name.
You're in the know with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Former Vice President Kamala Harris is in the spotlight as California's governor race heats up. Former Congresswoman Katie Porter just joined, and experts say Harris would shake things up if she enters. Black House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says Democrats will oppose the GOP spending bill, calling it unacceptable. He says it fails to protect Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Without a deal, the government could shut down Friday. Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams is pushing back on Andrew Cuomo's claims that the city is unsafe, calling it insulting to police. He points to data showing crime is dropping, while Cuomo, now running for mayor, has proposed adding 5,000 New York Police Department officers. And Black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass's text messages on the Palisades fire response were not saved, per the LA Times. A records request found no messages, as state law doesn't require officials to keep texts. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
In Orange on the 55 northbound, it's slowing down at Villa Park Road to the 91. 91 eastbound, also pretty slow right now out of Anaheim from Kramer Glacel all the way to Green River. Now it's tough as you make your way through Sherman Oaks. 101 southbound, delays from Van Nuys Boulevard to the 170, 134 split. More slowing in Hollywood from Sunset Boulevard into downtown Los Angeles. West LA, 405 northbound, backing up away from Santa Monica Boulevard. It remains heavy all the way to the 5 merge into Sylmar. And the drive on the 15 in Corona. Southbound delays away from Magnolia Avenue, better past Wyrick Road.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man. 4 days ago, the Lakers were the talk of the NBA with an 8-game winning streak and projections as a legitimate contender for the Western Conference title. The Lakers have lost 2 in a row after losing at Brooklyn Monday night, 111-108. Injuries are becoming a major issue. The Lakers did not have 4 players who have started games this season, including LeBron, who is out for 2 weeks with a groin injury. Injuries to Jackson Hayes, Rui Hachimura, and Dorian Finney-Smith are showing how vulnerable the Lakers can be if they're not healthy. The Clippers are in New Orleans tonight to start a 3-game trip. The Clippers are going for their 4th straight win. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts has a new contract. The Dodgers gave the 52-year-old Roberts a 4-year extension worth $32.4 million. Roberts and the Angels' Ron Washington are the only 2 black managers in Major League Baseball. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Many of the 39 BLM grassroots chapters across the nation are participating in this honoring of the memory of Breonna Taylor on the anniversary of her death. This BLMLA event is taking place on Sunday, March 16th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Norman Houston Park, 4800 South La Brea in Los Angeles, the park at the summit. For special parking options and more information, visit blmla.org or go to BLM Los Angeles on Instagram. Say her name, Breonna Taylor, and join us in loving on Black women. Happy Women's History Month from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything! The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu!
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
That's what I am. Make no mistake about it. 'Cause the little things certainly mean so much to me. Maybe I should tell you that I have my faults, and they're all can't you see? I'm only human.
And you are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Little Jeffrey Osborne to get you going on this Tuesday night. You know what I forgot to add? If at any point you want to jump into this conversation, 800-920-1580. Hit us up on social media. We are everywhere. KBLA 1580. Me personally, I'm at Stiletto Jill. If you have some commentary to add. Now, Mr. Nick Hamilton, if you saw Drake on the red carpet, would you ask him about Kendrick? And do you think he would answer, or do you think he would have the interview stopped?
No, he's gonna be guarded harder than Fort Knox. His, like you said, his publicists, his managers. There. I mean, if I had an angle to ask, I'm not gonna just disrespect the guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I had a particular angle that I was asking. I'm going to ask. Now, if they tell me, oh, you can't ask this, you can't ask that, which I've done a couple of times before, I've just been like, all right, thanks, but no thanks, because I don't want to be limited.
All right.
If I'm going to be on this carpet or I'm going to be on a Zoom or what have you, then allow me to be the professional journalist and reporter that I am. And, if you got a problem with that, then cool. That's not a problem with me. We'll just skip the interview and we'll move on down the yellow brick road to Compton.
Okay.
That's how I look at it. I don't get all up in arms. I mean, I pay attention to certain things. I'm sure as you do too.
Right.
And you just keep mental notes and you just keep it moving.
Well, I guess we'll have to see. I can't imagine Drake doing any interviews outside of with a streamer, or anything like that anytime soon, because it's a different time. So speaking of interviews and probably not going to be getting an interview anytime soon, SZA jumped in the comments over a question Shannon Sharpe recently asked Coco Jones in her interview when she was in Club Shay Shay. Now, the tides have turned. We are just 14 months from Cat Williams opening the portal on Club Shay Shay last January 4th of 2024. And of course, Uncle Shay Shay went from your favorite uncle to the most hated. And he was called a low bit Wendy Williams and all types of other things. But Club Shay Shay continues to roll on. And so recently, he asked Coco Jones if she would ever consider getting work done, and mentioned how SZA had come out recently and said that she regretted her BBL. Now, here's the thing. SZA jumped in the comments and was like, now, why would this be a question for Coco? And then she followed it up and said, incredibly tacky. I wanted to come on here too. Well. So, one, SZA put it out there, right? So sometimes if you don't want things recirculated, maybe don't bring them up, right? But I do wonder why he asked that question to Coco, because Coco's natural, didn't kind of flow with the flow of conversation. But I'm not necessarily mad at him getting her opinion on plastic surgery, because as we've seen, there's a kit that comes with certain things nowadays, and a BBL is part of it. Nick, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I thought it was in poor taste. I thought it kind of crossed the line. I think it was, it was pointless to me, because it was like, what are you asking her about a BBL for? Why don't you wait and get SZA and ask her directly? I mean, SZA's already been in print saying how, sensitive she is about that, how much she regrets doing it at this stage of her life. And the thing about it is, I know everybody's trying to get clicks and they're trying to do clickbait and all that other stuff. And I don't just look at Shannon Sharpe for doing that, but I have to look at his production staff too, because they all get together and they all organize and they get together and they go over the show notes and things, what questions to ask and what not to ask. So I think it's a collective effort over there. I mean, I don't think calling a man out his name is going to change nothing, but I felt like it was just, he just stepped over the line. He was a habitual line stepper in that moment. So, now he messed up on,
potential SZA interview.
Grammy Award winning, artist that's global, so that's what he was achieving. Good luck.
Here's the thing, I feel as though he could have asked the question without name dropping SZA. Was like, I get why he wanted to ask the question, as I said, but why, like, do Coco and SZA have a song together, a close relationship? Why we gotta point people out? You know, people are sensitive. Andy?
I hear it, but I don't think it's a bad question in the sense that Coco Jones kind of represents the youth. Right. And a lot of our young ladies are being influenced by those who have BBL. So I think, you know, asking Coco Jones, who happens to have an influence, about what SZA, how she feels about it, who has influence. Coco Jones, how do you feel about that? I don't think there's a problem right there.
I mean, I feel you. Like I said, the topic in general, I don't mind. But maybe, you know, the comparison, considering SZA's history with also, you know, talking about the questions and the insecurity she has around her body and so forth, kind of puts her out there in another way. I mean, Nick, what were you about to say?
I mean, I think I'm going to say, here's why I disagree with both of y'all, because like you mentioned earlier, you know, Coco's all natural that we know about, right? Every time we see her, she looks absolutely amazing. She carries herself very well. And it's like, what was the point of you asking the question to somebody like that?
Well, now, I mean, because, Andy brought up a good point. As a woman, as a young woman, plastic surgery is very, very common nowadays. A little BBL, a little breast injection, a little Botox, a little lip filler. So I don't mind having the conversation with a young woman about surgery.
It wasn't apropos to Coco, though. But it wasn't apropos to Coco, though. Like, if you had brought on somebody else, you know what I mean, that had that particular or had some type of surgery done, cool, I totally understand that.
Not necessarily. I mean, but here's the thing. Well, here's my thing. I'm saying this as a woman, right? Just because you don't have plastic surgery doesn't mean that you are against plastic surgery. It just may not have been something you were interested in. And there's still procedures and things, little tweaks that people get that aren't as overt as, you know, some of the other surgeries that we're seeing. So in general, it's the aesthetic is a conversation, just like we ask about, you know, other performers. What do you think about women not wearing much clothes when they come out? What do you think about female rappers that basically have to come out in a onesie? So from that perspective, I don't mind it. I just feel like maybe it could have been phrased a little better, massaged a little more, you know? But back to your point, Nick.
No, I'm just saying I don't think it was apropos. It's not if you're for or against it. I just think if it's apropos to the conversation or to the individual that you're interviewing. I think certain subject matters you have to curtail it around the person or around what they're involved in sometimes because, and I know why. I mean, to me, it sounds like he was trying to go after clickbait. Like, and we've seen this time and time again. This is not the first time we've seen this with him. So I look at it like, okay, this backfired now, right? And so will he learn from it? Will he continue to keep going?
He'll continue to keep going for sure.
That's going to. But I agree with I agree with Mike Epps. I want to see Shannon Sharpe interview some white people and talk about white folks. Like, let's have that.
Let me ask you a question. Why? Okay, so let me ask you a question, and I know why you're saying that because the line now is that Shannon crosses the line and goes too far with his guest and gets all up in their business in a messy way. But if he is of the culture, representing the culture, why would you want him necessarily, who would you want to see him interview not of the culture? Because the whole point of Club Shay Shay is to be with us, to talk about us. So, I mean, just because you're uncomfortable with some of the questions or some of the things that have come out of it, I feel like we get in this weird space with this where we like it until it is with someone that we aren't fond of or that we are fond of. And then all of a sudden we're not comfortable with it. But before that, you know, everybody was laughing and enjoying the Cat Williams interview when he was blasting people and putting business out there and asking different things. Again, I am not saying we know that Shannon is not technically a journalist, that he's being fed questions questions from producers, and that he could have a little more, maybe je ne sais quoi when it comes to dealing with it. But at the same time, we love these people for keeping it real. We always say we want people to keep it real and talk to us like we talk when we're amongst each other. But then when it gets a little too high or too hot, we have smoke for them. Do you see that, or no, you don't feel this is this? Which
is fine, but I'm saying balance. That's what this lacks, is balance. You know what I mean? Because just because you're not directly in the culture don't mean you don't affect the culture in some way, shape, or form. So
do you think he not gives balance? I'm sorry, in his interviews, because I feel like these interviews are 2 hours long, and though we see some clips from it, he also talked about Coco's upbringing. Coco's father was an NFL player. Her mother was like an high-powered executive and things like that. And so she talked about the different struggles and some of the ways that people. So I feel like it's in there, but you know this as well as I know this. You have your own site as well. People are more intrigued by the clicky stuff, and not saying necessarily that you just go for that, but I think if you're putting them both out there, and this is where people are gravitating towards, you can put out the positive clips all day, but those aren't necessarily the ones that are going to run it up and go viral.
No, but what I'm saying, my point is, it's just balance, right? Like, it's balance. It's different types of conversations that can be had from various types of people. If you're in a space, because we all know Shannon Sharpe is kind of like
the black DJ Vlad.
No, not even. I would never disrespect Shannon like that. I would never compare him to a culture vulture. He's more like, what's my man on ESPN?
Stephen A.
No, white dude.
Ryan. Oh.
Anyway.
Are you talking about
Pat McAfee?
Pat McAfee, because he's been gaining a lot of momentum, which is great. But what I'm saying is, you got to have some type of balance as you go up the ladder. You got to have some type of balance.
But this is what I'm asking you. How do you feel like he doesn't have balance?
Because he only interviews a certain type of people. Like, we gonna sit there and act like he don't.
I think. What do you mean a certain type of people? What do you consider?
What I said earlier. I'm like, I want to see different types of people from different walks of life.
Like what?
Like, I want to see people from the financial community. I want to see people.
Let me ask you a question. Why do you want to see Shannon Sharpe interview someone from the financial community, even though he has sat down on the other side with guys like, I think, Earn Your Leisure or something like that? What do you think? But let me ask you. So when Kai Cenat was on there and he talked about how he makes his money and things of that nature and the things that he's learned through that process, are those not positive conversations on a financial level about a new media thing? Listen, when we come forward, we're going to get more from Nick Hamilton, more on this topic, plus more trending topics and headlines. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Your ride with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. S&P volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an S&P open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit caspvolunteer.org. Protect yourself from Medicare card scams. Scammers may call, email, or even knock on your door claiming they need your Medicare info, asking for money or threatening to cancel your benefits. Don't fall for it. It's a scam. Remember, Medicare doesn't need to verify your information. They already have it. Medicare won't charge you for a new card and will never threaten to cancel benefits. Check your Medicare statements for suspicious charges and report scams to the California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. We're here to help. LA property owners, join us to house more veterans. By accepting veteran housing vouchers, you will receive guaranteed rent while providing a stable and safe home that will make a difference in their lives. Help house our heroes. Expedited processing and dedicated support for property owners is available because every veteran deserves a place to call home. Email houseourvets at lacity.org, HOUSEOURVETS at lacity.org for more information.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their programs. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580 with your entertainment news update. So, the question was, when is Shannon going to interview a white person? Tomorrow, lock in to Club Shay Shay. Andrew Schultz will be on there. He's been taking a lot of heat about some things he said about Kendrick. So that is an answer to that question. A question about depth and finance. When Wallow was on Club Shay Shay not too long ago, he talked about building up the podcast business and how he knew nothing about that because he had just did his bid in jail and he was just kind of following along with Gilly. So he talked about reaching out to people like the funeral home and saying, hey, you give me this much, I'll shout you out this many times. We do this shows once a week. I think he said he charged like $20,000 for it. And the woman, I think $20,000 was to cover a month. The woman called after the first episode and said, hey, don't do it anymore. We got to stop. Too much business. I can't handle all of these bodies. So we do have finance conversations about how to build a business. I mentioned Kai Cenat because he talked about that. So I just think that when we're only looking at surface level things, those 60, 90-second clips, we make a lot of judgments. And I think that it is important for us to have conversations with nuance at times and go one level deeper. We can't continue to say we can't ask questions. We can't ask that question. Then we go around the topic and we don't get to the meat and heart of it. You know, there are ways to have conversations that aren't necessarily, invasive in that manner while still covering the topic. At least that is what my opinion is. And I know Andy brought up a great point. Sometimes we don't want to criticize each other as Black people. We don't want to point out the flaws or the little things or let company know what's going on behind closed doors. That was a big thing. But realistically, social media has blown the doors off of that. So, got to think through. Nick, go ahead. What do you have to say?
Nothing. I pretty much said everything I need to say without being redundant.
I feel you on that. So, Nick Hamilton, NiteCast Media, tell the people where they can find you and what you have coming up because you're always busy.
X, Nick Hamilton 213, Instagram, Nick Hamilton LA. Catch me on YouTube at NiteCast Media TV. I'm in the wind like paper planes, y'all.
Appreciate you for clocking in, Nick. We always love to hear from you. Now, listen, before we go, I mentioned that we've been talking about some of our favorite Black shows being canceled, not moving forward. Of course, people were sad about Harlem being canceled on Prime Video. How to Die Alone is not coming back. However, one of our favorites that's on network TV actually will live on at least for another season, and it will be its final season. So season 8 of The Neighborhood is coming up. There's a backdoor pilot planted in season 7 for 2 of the characters, Marty and Malcolm, to move off to Venice. We'll see if it gets picked up. But season 8 is coming back. You know, it's hard when you get into those length of time with shows. The more the shows go on, the more the salaries go up. And when you're dealing with talent like Cedric the Entertainer and Tashina Arnold, baby, those salaries aren't cheap. They require funds. But it is being picked back up right now. Papa's House, which is the Damon Wayans and Damon Wayans Jr. comedy that dropped. It's on the bubble. We'll find out if that's being renewed, as well as The Equalizer, which we know is Queen Latifah's show that has been at the network for quite some time. Now, the new drama Watson That's a mid-series in one that dropped down. That's the one with Morris Chestnut. Right now, it looks like it could be coming back, but no official word. So there you go, up to date with all of your viewing. Now, listen, we got into a lot tonight, a lot. So I hope that you enjoyed the conversation. Make sure that you are locked in each and every day, 6 p.m. to get in on these trending topics and headlines. Tonight we talked about what could be RKelly's jailhouse cash grab, Drake's mysterious next chapter. Drake is always in some drama, and Shannon Sharpe. But let me know in the comments what you thought. Hit us up on social media because we love to hear from you. And, make sure you're always tapped in with us. We're your front row seat to the culture. Make sure that you are back here tomorrow. And, of course, coming up next is the voice of reason, Zoe Williams. Thank you, guys. I will check in with you tomorrow.
Oh, dear me. She says she want a good life, no one to cause her pain and strife. She want a good life, no man to cause her pain and strife. She don't want no unsteady relationship, one with a rock like a rocking ship. Want a love that's steady as can be, one that brings back memory. She want a good life.